Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kyle. I'm going to be doing a quick video with you guys here today. I think Adobe Connect is finally in a good place where we can actually revamp some of the previously recorded videos that we've done, just because there's been a lot of changes, a lot of new stuff coming out with HTML5 and 11.2. So if you guys like what you see, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and we'd love to have you for any further coming videos. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to the meetings tab here at the top, and again, this video is only going to apply if you did in fact purchase a meeting license. If you purchased a webinar package or a webinar license, also known as a webinar manager or a seminar tab, you're going to be up in the seminar button up top here. There's a training one as well if you guys are working with virtual classrooms. But again, today's video is going to be a focus on meetings, so make sure you actually own meetings. If you actually own a different license and try to create a meeting room, this won't actually work. No one will be able to join your sessions. So what we'll do is we'll click the new meeting button, and this is going to look pretty similar to what we've seen in the past, except again at the bottom we've got some new options. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to name this room. I'm going to call this Kyle's virtual training. And we'll do that for the customization of the URL as well. I definitely recommend you guys customize the link to your Connect rooms. Any standard license of Connect will allow you to create as many Connect rooms as you want. Just note, obviously you'll only be able to run one live session at a time. But if you wanted to have one room for a training, one room for a Wednesday weekly meeting, another room for a webinar that you host every Friday, you can have different rooms and you can create as many as you want. Personally, I just favor using the same room for everything. Most of the time, I actually rotate between 2 to 3 rooms, but it'll definitely help you recognize and reference which room or which link goes to which room just by customizing this link. So make this link count, because you also cannot change this once you've created it. Once you've created that link, it is set in stone forever. My personal room that I've been using, I've had the same URL. It's been the same room for over 7.5 years. And we'll talk about persistency in another video. But next step is the summary, the start time, and the duration. Guys, I've probably only done or filled this out once just to kind of see what it did. This is used in Connect's internal invitation system as a guide. I don't use it though, because none of my contacts are actually in Adobe Connect. However, all my contacts are in Outlook. So I would preferably use Outlook to do my invites. If you guys want to use Connect's internal invitation system, you would need to upload every single attendee into the Adobe Connect system and give them their own separate profile. I certainly don't have time to do that. I don't want to do that. So again, the only thing your attendees will need to join your actual Connect session is the link to this room. So I will literally just copy and paste this link into an Outlook meeting invite. I'll right click a time slot on my calendar. I'll copy and paste all the recipients' email addresses in the to box. In the subject line, I'll put, Adobe Connect training, and then in the body of that invite, I'll have this link. I'll include some other verbiage to make it look a little bit more professional, but this link here is the only thing that your attendees will need to join your session. And so if you're doing what I do, and you're using Outlook or some sort of, third-party email program to do your invites, you can actually skip over this stuff. The summary, you won't need that. The start time, the room starts as soon as you create it. It's not really that important. The duration, most people, feel uncomfortable like, hey, is the room gonna close down on me in an hour? This is just used as an invitational guide. It has no effect on your room. It doesn't matter what this is set to. As long as you are present in your actual Connect room, that room will stay open forever. Oftentimes working from home, working remote with the pandemic and everything, I usually open up my Connect room first thing in the morning, and I'll leave it open all day. And you can kind of think of this as like a virtual extension of your office, if you will. Templates, probably one of the most important pieces of functionality on this screen. We're actually going to make another video to really go into more depth on creating templates, but to kind of summarize what this allows you to do is, if you've created a room in the past and you love the way you customize it. You put a lot of time and effort into it. You load it in background image, you loaded in all your documents, your assets, and you created several different layouts that really sort of cater to the experience that you want to deliver, and you want to replicate that for another room. Or maybe someone in your department's like, hey, Joe Schmo, I love what you're doing with this Connect room. How do we replicate that on our side of the house? So as long as they have the Connect license, they can actually use your templates too. And so you can make them available. So this drop-down menu simply allows me to choose templates. So the default one's obviously going to be that, where is it here? Kyle's, it should be called shared simple and shared default. Where is it? We got so many on here, I get lost. Anyways, there it is, default meeting template. If it's your first time using Connect, just leverage this template right here. It's going to give you 3 preset layouts so you can get in there and start using it. But later on, as you get more comfortable with Connect, you can set your rooms aside as templates, and then they'll be available to choose here on this drop-down menu. It'll literally carry everything over. It'll literally be an exact clone of that previously selected room, except now it'll have a new name, a new link, and then if you want to make changes or build off of it, you can. But at least this way, you're not stuck, with a fresh, clean room where there's absolutely nothing in it. A lot of times, IT departments will like this feature to sort of set a standard for how all agencies will create Connect rooms. Or again, like if you just want to use a room, but have a different link, whatever the case may be. Maybe you've created an awesome, virtual classroom experience, and you want to create several different rooms, but don't want to have to create, 4 or 5 rooms completely separately. This will speed up that process. And again, we'll make another video on how to do templates specifically. Now, language is going to be English. You've got German, English, Spanish, French, Dutch, Italian, Portuguese, the Brazilian variety. I'm guessing these are Turkish, Russian, and some of your Mandarin languages. I apologize in advance for my ignorance if I didn't get any of those right. But then we'll come down to access. So you've got 4 different points of access here. First one, registered users only. This means that you as the host will manually add people to this list on the next phase, or using the webinar module that comes with registration, you would need an event manager license. You can create registration around your Connect sessions so that when folks, maybe you want to put on a webinar, you want to set up registration so that people have to register to join your sessions. I would only use this first access point if I was doing something like that, where I wanted to make sure people registered before they came to my webinar, for example. Or if I was using, if this was a high security detailed meeting, we're dealing with information of a sensitive nature. I don't want anyone just to waltz in. I want to make sure it's just a close-knit group, and I want to make sure that I've vetted these people ahead of time. That's where this option would come into play. The second option means account members. That means anyone with an account on your server can join the room without any extra work on your part. I rarely use this. The one that I use all the time is going to be this third option here. Probably more applicable to the vast majority of folks filling these out. Accepted guests may enter the room. This is where you're sort of like the gatekeeper, like the bouncer outside the club. And as people try to join your room, you're going to receive a little notification. Hey, so-and-so is trying to join the room, and you're going to be able to either accept them into the room, deny them, or take no action, and just sort of leave them in limbo. Maybe I'll wait to let them into the room later on. I use the same room for everything. As I told you guys earlier, I've been using the same room for 7.5 years. And so if I've got back-to-back trainings or back-to-back consultations, meetings, whatever the case may be, I don't want my second group to come in on the tail end of that first group's training if we're still underway. It'll be one giant awkward party, right? I like to keep those sessions segregated. So I'll wait for my first session to end. I can see that group B is trying to join the room, but I'm going to leave them in that limbo mode. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to finish up my first session, kick them out, and then I'll go ahead and accept that second group into the session. So at least with this option, you have some barrier to entry. And also, if someone tries to join my room and they've named themselves Mickey Mouse, I'm probably not going to bother letting them in. So at least you have some security, and no one can just waltz into your room. It also takes no extra work on your part. So I really like that option. Now, if you don't care about any of this stuff, you just want to make it as easy as possible for your attendees to join your session, we're going to go ahead and click the anyone who has the URL for the room can enter the session. And that is no barrier to entry. As long as they have the link, they're coming in. Now, with any of these options, you can also add a password, and you can change that password whenever you want. So really nice. So essentially with the password option, you are doubling your configuration options here. So figure out which one works best for you and your use case and choose the applicable one there. Now we're going to get down to the fun stuff. So we have standard view. The standard view is the newest and most updated for the application, the add-in. This will allow you to have access to all the functionality inside the Connect room. It does require you to download the small little one-time add-in, just a couple megabytes. Again, it's a one-time download. Obviously, if Adobe pushes out a new version, you'll have to re-download it to get the most updated version. But again, very quick and easy to get this and get it installed and get going. Now, a lot of times you want to sort of know your audience, right? Know your use case, know the people that you're working with, get an idea for the attendees that are going to be joining. And if these folks that are going to be joining your sessions, if they're under very tight-knit networks, their IT departments have a very firm grasp on what they can download, what they can, view, what they can browse, what they can install on their machine. Sometimes they are not going to be able to get the application, right? IT is going to block them. So sometimes the browser access can be a nice avenue because you can come into a Connect room download free. Now, there are two major limitations with the browser view. First limitation, you cannot screen share. So if you're in a virtual training and you need your students to be able to screen share their machines and showcase what they're doing, they'll have to grab the application in order to do that. So for highly engaging sessions where everyone's really interacting with the session, and you're collaborating and you're doing breakout rooms, I recommend you force people to grab the app. And to do that, you simply uncheck browser access. So that's the first limitation of the browser. The second limitation of the browser is that you can only see 2 webcams at a time. So if you want to see, all 10 students that you're having on your training, you're also going to want to uncheck the browser access button and force people to grab the app. So again, whether you're trying to decide between the two, know your audience, know your use case. Again, the standard view application, this is going to be the best option if you're having, sessions where you're all grouped together. It's highly interactive. If it's more of a webinar type of situation and you're simply a speaker and you're just sort of dumping a lot of information on people and your audience is just sort of there passively observing, the browser access is going to work perfectly for that. Because they don't need to, they don't need to see everyone's webcams. They're probably just seeing the speaker's webcam or maybe a presenter, and they don't need to screen share because they're just sort of absorbing the information that you're delivering to them. They're just watching. We got a new audio codec. If you guys would like to leverage it, click the Use Enhanced Audio, Opus codec. This makes VoIP sound really, really good. There's two sort of temporary limitations, I'm guessing. These will be lifted once Adobe comes out with some new mobile apps and some more updates to the app itself for the add-in in terms of standard view. But you'll notice if you use enhanced audio, you will not be able to have your attendees join from mobile apps. So if people want to come in on their mobile devices, tablets, phones, they won't be able to join. And then also, if you guys are looking to make your MP4 recordings offline, that won't work either. So again, if you want to use enhanced audio, you got these two limitations. Again, I think these are just temporary while Adobe's set to push out some new updates later this year. Then you also have the classic view. Classic view will be removed soon, so I wouldn't put too much weight on this. You shouldn't be using it unless you're working with an agency that just can't really leverage the new version yet because maybe it hasn't been approved via your IT department, whatever the case may be. But steer away from the classic view as, again, it will be going away later this year. So just get accustomed to the new standard version. It's a lot better looking, far more aesthetic, and you're going to have access to all the new features and functions. Now we're to the bottom of our page, and we'll be able to choose and select our audio. So first option is VoIP. I know it says do not include any audio with this meeting. It can be kind of confusing to some people, but that just means do not include any telephony. Select this option to create a VoIP-only meeting. So this will allow you to run the communication over your internet bandwidth. So just make sure you have decent internet, right? Have a decent headset. Doesn't have to be anything crazy expensive. Just a headset in general will greatly improve the quality of audio coming in and out. If you would like to introduce a telephony bridge into the mix, you're going to select the second option. And we can include this audio conference with this meeting by selecting an audio profile. If you don't have an audio profile created, you'll click this button right here to create one. I already have some videos out on how to do this. So if you guys would like to, there are integrated providers available for purchase. Those are very easy to set up. When you purchase an integrated provider, they will give you the criteria that you can then input into Connect. It's about 3 or 4 text fields with some codes and whatnot. If you guys want to use your own 1-800 toll-free number, we can also create an audio profile. There's a little bit more in terms of the steps involved to get that going, but again, I also have a video on that. That's called Universal Voice. We'll teach Adobe Connect how to dial into your conference like it's its own user, like a robot, and that's how it'll capture the audio in the recording. So that if you don't want to fork out for a new audio provider, you already have AT&T or I don't know, whatever audio provider you guys are using, as long as it's 1-800 toll-free, we can plug it into Connect and leverage it. This third option I've never used in my career of using Connect, so my recommendation is to pretend it's not even here. If you try to put information into here, it is solely a visual aid only. When people join your Connect room, it'll say, hey, dial this number, but in no way, shape, or form is it actually sort of integrated with Connect. So if you try to use this third option, you will have a mute recording. You'll have a silent recording. So again, choose the first option if you want to do VoIP. If you're going to use telephony that's integrated with Connect, you're going to select the second option. So I know we covered a lot here and it's a little dense, but I just wanted you guys to have a good understanding of the options, sort of the configurations that you have available to you. But as you guys are coming through here and doing this yourself, you can name the room. That'll take you 1 second. Customizing the link, maybe 2 seconds. We're going to skip over this stuff. Template. You'll be able to choose your template very easily. Language will probably be English most of the time, unless you guys are, choosing a different language. But then it'll start to intuitively choose the language you normally choose. Same thing with access settings. If you always choose accepted guests, it'll start to choose that on its own. And you're probably going to have the same options here. And same thing with audio. So it'll really, in essence, it'll really only take you about 10 seconds to create your own Connect room. And we've got one more step. And that is going to be to set users up in your Connect room if you want to. You can preset roles ahead of time. This can be handy if you know you're going to use this room for a ton of different uses, a ton of different times, so that if you have the same reoccurring attendees, the same staff helping you support you on your webinar or your training or co-hosts, co-trainers, this is a great option to have. So if I wanted to add for example, the Wolf, one of my colleagues, if he's going to join me on these trainings and I know that, I obviously always want him as a host, he's another Connect specialist, I can click his name, I can click the position button here, and I can actually add him as a host. So now whenever he joins my room, he automatically comes in as a host. Now you can easily drag and drop attendees' names inside the attendees list once you're actually inside the room, but this helps just sort of automate that process ahead of time. In order to select and choose these people from the left-hand side list, they also have to have a profile in your system. In order to create a profile, you'll have to have an admin on your account do that. So that's all that you'll need to go ahead and add users. So once I've added him, I'm actually going to click remove so he doesn't get an annoying email from me. I'll click finish. And that's it. Your room is created. This is the link to your room. This is how you'll access your Connect room. What I recommend doing is creating a bookmark in your browser with this link. You'll notice if I open up a new tab in Chrome here, my first 3 bookmarks up top here are my various Connect rooms. So if I ever want to jump into a Connect room, I'm not going to log in through the backend portal every single time. I'm simply going to click on this shortcut. It's going to ask me for my login credentials. I'm already logged in, so it's already going to launch for me. But that way I can just jump straight into my room. And again, we can do this because these links to these Connect rooms never change, right? So that can always be bookmarked because that link is static. Now, if I need to go back and change any of these things, I can click Edit Info, and I can come back and change anything in terms of how it's configured, the audio options, the access. You'll notice the one thing you cannot change, though, is the link to the room. That is set in stone forever. So that's why I was telling you guys to make a count. If you need to change the participant list, I can click on this screen and I can make edits and changes to that if I wanted to add Aaron back to that. Invitations, if you guys want to use those, again, I never do. You can explore that option there. Uploaded content, This will just show you all the content you've ever loaded into a SharePod in your Connect room. Obviously, this is empty because I just created it. All your recordings will be stored right here. You can save as many recordings as you want. You have unlimited storage. I think I have like 2,000 recordings on my personal room. And then reports will all be stored here as well. Click on that tab. If you've been using your room for 7 years like I have, you probably don't want to click on attendees because this will literally pull up a single web page with every single attendee that you've ever had, and that'll probably take a couple minutes to load. So I advise coming in via the sessions button here, and this will have it organized via session. You can download this into an Excel file format if you want to peel this out of the system and export it. And then if you're asking polling questions inside your session, we can click on the questions button here too and download that. So that's it for part one of creating a Connect room. Obviously, we're going to be coming out with part two here pretty soon. We'll actually touch on inside the room and how to create your room for the first time, how to create layouts, go into customization, adding background images, things like that. If you guys like what you see here, smash that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification so you guys can stay up to date with all the newest content. We appreciate your time. Hopefully this is a good resource. Feel free to share this YouTube video to any of your new licensed Connect users that are going to be joining your Connect account. It's a great resource. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks.